a reminder that freedom isn't free. And these guys did the best they could. And that's why we have this law. A lot of us came home, were spit upon, called names. And that's why we do what we do now with the non-vets. That'll never happen again.
My name is Denny Byrne. I'm a support specialist, half-time, with the Office of Military and Veteran Services here at UNH. Have been involved in is a 2-year program that was initiated by the Department of Defense, 50th commemoration of the Vietnam War. This happens to be the capstone event of our engagement and our involvement with that program. Having seen a video of this particular wall, we were really interested in bringing the wall here. You know, I was convinced that I would have very little emotion invested in this thing, and nothing could be further from the truth. And it's not just the stories and the people, it's the families, it's the history, it's the enormity of 58,315 people, and what that means.
It was tough coming home to have this stigma attached to you that there was something wrong with you and that you couldn't be trusted, you couldn't have a job, you were going to do something that happens all the time now, never happened back then. So it was rough, and for a lot of years, a lot of Vietnam veterans stayed in the closet, didn't let people know they were veterans. When I started working for New Jersey Bell, I didn't put down I was a Vietnam veteran on my application. Over the years, as the wall was built in Washington, started to realize that some people cared about what happened.
As of today, there's 58,315 names on the wall, as Washington, and same name placement as Washington, as it's a half-size replica of Washington.
My name is Paul Chen. I am from Chicago, born and raised in Chicago, and I have my wife that travels with me, Kim. And I'm retired iron worker out of Chicago. Did it for 32 years. And now, the last 7 years, I drive the wall.
Remember, our brothers and sisters.
Last year we had 25 states we went to. This year we got 23 more states. Durham was our first stop this year. And then next week we're off to Dexter, Maine. We get to see so much emotion. That's probably the hardest. We see everybody's pain. All the vets, the moms, the sisters, the brothers. We see a lot of empty faces. And then that's the time we got to get away from the wall. This is a part of history that everybody wants to forget, but in reality it happened. And you know, there's 58,315 names on this wall, but times that by 5, the brothers and sisters, the moms and dads that the Vietnam War affected. And if we were to put everybody's name on it, this thing would be a mile long and 20 yards high. I bring it to people that don't have the ability to go to Washington to see it, and I try to keep it as beautiful as I can during the season, and it's a labor of love.
There are a lot of war memorials in America. America has fought in a lot of wars over our nearly 2.5 centuries of existence, and like you, I suspect, I've visited a lot of them. There are war memorials in town squares all across America. There are national memorials in Washington, D.C. We have battlefields that are essentially national war memorials. But I don't think there's any that has the impact of the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington and the one that is behind me here. There's no other memorial that I've seen, at least a national memorial, that one stands in front of and actually reads the names of individuals who died in that war or are missing in that war. And for me, I think that means it's impossible to stand in front of this memorial wall, look at those names, and not attach a face or imagine a life and a family left behind.
Back in the day when the Vietnam veterans came home, it wasn't a welcome home. And I think because of the things that you went through, which shouldn't have happened, made it better for the new generation. Like when I came back, we had parades. We didn't have people picketing or spitting on us. So I appreciate that. Those men and women that are names here are far greater, are worthy of a far greater recognition than speeches or words or markers.
I'm Bud Whitmire from Greenland, New Hampshire. I joined the Marine Corps 2 days after I graduated out of high school in Michigan, and I went to Vietnam in the late '65 and all of '66. After I came back from Vietnam, I became a guard over to prison on the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, and that's where I met this guy, Chief, who was in Vietnam in the same battalion, 19, who are now called in history books the Walking Dead. We were called the Walking Dead because my version of the story that we got the name was on Ho Chi Minh's birthday, one of his generals for his birthday was going to give him the battalion, White 19. They were going to come down and wipe us out, and so they had nicknamed us the Walking Dead. We were dead, but we just didn't know it yet. So, but my battalion, on an average battalion of 800 men, we lost 743, or right around 93%. When we were in Vietnam, we never asked for somebody's full name or anything. We just didn't, because of the MIAs and stuff, we didn't want to get too close to each other. A lot of us are nicknamed by the city we were from, like Chi-Town was Chicago, and out of Detroit, and maybe something like, Tennessee, we nicknamed that. Or we just gave guys nicknames like Rat or whatever, sometimes what they did in the Marine Corps, their MOS. We kind of gave them nicknames, and that's so it bothers me a lot that I don't know the full names now, remember them. Right. But like Chief and I do now today, we're just going to get the panel that 1966 and honor all of them on that plaque.
My name's Robert Escoto.
Chief.
I joined the Marine Corps in 1965. Went to Vietnam. Spent 66 and part of 67. It brings a lot of memories when you go through it, you know. Like I said, I've been out 50 years. I don't drink at all anymore because even with a few drinks underneath me, I have really bad dreams about Vietnam. I've had one flashback that was so real that it was scary. It was during the daytime. I was a supervisor, and I was talking to one of my employees, and he wanted to argue with me. And all of a sudden, I could smell, see, and hear Vietnam. And my mind, it's telling me to kill him. Part of my mind is, and the other part is telling me, no, you're back home. Calm down, you're back home.
My name is Specialist James Lawrence with the New Hampshire Army National Guard. One gentleman just wanted to talk for like 45 minutes. We just chatted, and that was, I think, very impactful for him. Other gentlemen didn't want to talk at all. Everybody that I've seen who served during that time period or who were overseas have been very moved by the experience. I think Vietnam changed America's perception of war. I think it changed our perception of soldiers. I think it changed our perception of our government and how our government interacts in the world. And I think this memorial helps me connect with that change of perception. I think the emotional connection is not with a sense of an ideal or with a war or with a country. It is with a person. And that's what makes the Vietnam Memorial so powerful.
Quite a few guys that I grew up with that are on there. You know, we grew up together, grammar school, high school, cut school, got in trouble together, and they're on that wall. So it's actually, now I could go to the wall, whether it's a travel wall or the one in DC, and not get as emotional as I used to.
It's kind of scary. I have a bunch of kids, and they know never to walk in my bedroom when I'm in there.
No.
They have to knock. because I'm still jumping.
You know, I wear my hat now because I meet a lot of guys from Vietnam that I would have never known before. You know, and it's good to see them. And it's good to be thanked now. But, I mean, it's a little late, but it's to be appreciated now is fine too. You know.
I don't get it as well. You know, I think we should have been thanked 50 years ago. You know, I think they were a little late now. I mean, I'm not angry anymore, but it still doesn't mean anything to me when someone says thank you.
Mom and her two children, were not children, they're adults with their kids. And her husband was killed in Vietnam, and she since remarried. And her son and daughter were there with their kids, and they walked right up to the panel. She knew exactly where it was, and this was the first time that their kids met their dad on the wall. And she was holding her new husband and patted him on the back and said that her husband would have approved of him.
I guess we are starting to realize that those names on the wall mean a lot to everybody, and hopefully the media does something. And like this gentleman was saying about veterans coming home now, they got parades. After the first Gulf War, when they had the parades, the ticker tape parades going down Wall Street, I think there was a turn in this country that said, what did we do to these Vietnam veterans? How come they were treated like dirt? How come people wouldn't hire them? Now there's a big push. Hire veterans, treat veterans a lot better. Hopefully the administration has changed the VA. People are getting taken care of. So we're on the right track. We definitely are.
Yeah, they'll collapse and stay small the same way. Okay. Somebody think of that. I think we've done it.
Yeah, I know. I was, light on Thursday. That was there. Saddle up. There you go. Yeah. All right. Yes.
That was painless? How's the knee?